Let's go ahead and get to Game Junction. What is our final topic, man?
So we are talking about the Nintendo Pokemon PalWorld lawsuit.
Oh man,
getting this pulled up here. So
Yep.
we're on the official Nintendo website here.
Yep.
So
I'll share it in a second.
yeah, says Nintendo company together with the Pokemon Company filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair, which is the company that owns PalWorld. This lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that PalWorld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties is worked hard to establish over the years. So it's definitely very interesting timing. I think that's a big thing a lot of people are bringing up, the timing. I don't know a particular reason why with the timing. I think somebody on here said that they have an idea about it.
I would think TGS because PalWorld's teasing something for TGS. We all think it's like coming to PlayStation, so that would imply a final like version 1.0. But yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. A weird timing.
Yeah. Like TGS, I think is going to be the big PlayStation reveal, which could reinvigorate the game because obviously it blew up on PC. PlayStation could be another boon for the game to kind of bring the population back up. I don't know if they're trying to rain on it in that way. I kind of think, like, if you remember when Nintendo and the Pokemon Company were asked, hey, are you going to do anything? And they said, oh, yeah, we'll look into whatever. And everyone just thought, oh, they're just saying what they have to say, right? Like, we'll look into anything and protect our IP. And everyone thought nothing was going to happen. I think, like, they've obviously been, thinking about doing this for a while. They feel like they've gathered up a good case. Whether or not, like, what I'm more interested in is, like, yeah, okay, is it a good case or not? I don't know. I'm more interested in, like, how do you guys feel about it? Because I've seen reactions all the way. Like, some people saying, yeah, screw these AI creations and, non-original ideas and stealing, but I've also seen people go like, oh, PalWorld doesn't play anything like Pokemon. Like, what are we doing?
I'm kind of in the camp of I don't think it's affecting Pokemon necessarily. I mean, we did get Scarlet and Violet, pretty rough launch and still a rough game. I love the game. Played it all the way through, DLC and everything, but it's definitely one of the roughest Pokemon games that we've ever gotten. So I don't know.
I don't really have much to say. I'll just say this and then I got to dip out because I work in the morning. But I don't think this will affect Pokemon at all. Like, the Pokemon is such a big franchise. This is also like kind of how capitalism works. Like, you have thing and then someone else takes that idea and does it better, makes money, encourages other thing to do better because they see what this thing did and it worked. So it's just like healthy competition. And I don't think Nintendo needs to get so up in arms about it. I understand why, because they're very protective of their IP and they gotta be like, hey, don't touch Pokemon. I get it. Pokemon's a big thing. But at the same time, it's also just healthy competition, and that's how it works. So that's my 2 cents. I'm gonna head out. Been great talking to everybody. Talk about Switch 2.
Subscribe to this channel. He's 14 subs.
14 away. We're so close.
14.
Right. Let's go.
Hopefully, next time I'm on, I can bring us a Switch 2 review.
Ow!
I'll talk to my uncle who works at Nintendo and see if I can pull some strings. So
that's all we want to hear. That's all we want to hear. Later, man. Yeah. So my thoughts on this whole thing are just PalWorld is a game that I don't think really matters.
Yeah.
Just throwing my 2 cents out. I don't think PalWorld is doing anything that matters to me. It's clearly not coming on Nintendo Switch or Nintendo. I mean, look, if Nintendo's suing them, they're not going to let the game come out, right?
No way.
Yeah, that would be wild. That would be a little wild. But I kind of look at this as Nintendo realizes they made a lot of money because the creator has been very forward that they've made more money than they know what to do with. And Nintendo's like, well, we know what to do with it. If we didn't exist, you don't exist. Give us the money. like, so
Yeah.
Look, I honestly don't think Nintendo should be suing.
But
But it depends on what they found. Like they're not claiming copyright infringement. This is the biggest thing. They're not claiming they stole Pokemon designs. That's what everyone's mad about. They're not claiming they did that. They're saying it's patent infringement. And I'm very curious, like, what patents do they think they violated?
Well, here's something I wanted to bring up. So PalWorld tweeted on the 14th. It's kind of a little bit of a lengthy tweet, but basically they said they're changing their game's business model. It will remain buy to play, not free to play or games as a service.
Okay.
And they kind of get into it. They said PalWorld was never designed with that model in mind. It would require too much work to adapt the game at this point. Additionally, we are very aware that this just isn't what our players want. We'll always put our players first. We are considering skins and DLC for PalWorld in the future. So, I mean, they're basically saying they're going to expand it, right? They want to expand it. Maybe it's got a big enough user base. I don't know. I don't keep up with PalWorld, but it is interesting. 4 days later that we get this news after this tweet about their business model. So
Nate, you said it's it's not a copyright infringement; it's a patent infringement.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Do you think that it has something to do with bringing it to consoles?
It's already on a console.
It launched,
on Xbox,
it
at
launched
least.
on Xbox.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Like, you think that's why, though, that this lawsuit's going through? Because I know that there's like some very fine special wording when it comes to, for example, like arcades. When it comes to like arcade games versus like being in an arcade and being coin operated versus an arcade game coming to home consoles. And there's like a lot of legal area there, which is why we didn't get like Miss Pac-Man for ages.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because that was very hard for anyone to work around, like any potential suitors to get that game onto other consoles, other forms of media. It's kind of like this all-encompassing almost trump card, and it makes me wonder if Pokemon Company would have done something like that to protect their IP like a long time ago. And they're saying, hey, they're on PC. They're not on console. They're not on the console space or the handheld. But if they come over here and they start playing ball on our court, then that's when we're going to get involved.
Yeah. No,
I'm curious.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think that because Scarlet and Violet didn't do what they wanted it to do, that they think it probably affected them in some way. This is Nintendo thinking. I'm trying to get in their head because, they have some wacky thinking as much as I love them.
Do you think they really think that, or do you think they want to say that in order to strengthen their case?
Could be that. I mean, it could be that.
I hope they don't really think that.
I don't know why they would. It's wild to me.
Yeah, because people still want to catch them all.
Yeah, I mean, the YouTube primary pointed out that apparently the patent that they're suing over covers game mechanics. And like, the funny thing is, I dabbled in PalWorld a little bit. I don't know. It doesn't play anything like Pokemon. Is it just the fact you capture monsters? But then Digimon exists. So
right. Monster Rancher and all those other games that were just like Pokemon.
Do you think it's because of the weapons? Right?
But that wouldn't have anything to do with the patents.
Yeah, that's different. That has nothing to do with what Pokemon does.
I think it just has to do with the creature designs and like that whole concept. I think it's it is wacky to think. Weird. I don't know what they're thinking.
This is interesting though, isn't it?
Here's the thing. I don't even know if they're gonna win.
I mean, I love Nintendo, but I hope that they don't.
Because they're suing them in Japan. Too. If they win, it's going to be because they're the darling of Japan.
Yep.
And if Nintendo says you touch their IP, they're going to go, oh, you touched Pokemon? fuck you.
Warp piped as soon as you fly in there.
I mean, like I hope that they're not that biased in the courtroom over, in fact, they should be kind of anti-corporation in the courtroom, but
They should be, yeah.
But I have no idea how this stuff works in Japan. So that's the thing. I have no idea how it's going to play out. This isn't like a U.S. court case. I don't know anything about Japanese law or Japanese court cases or IP protections, and like they're claiming patent infringements. Maybe they're much more strict with patent infringements out there. Maybe the fact that like the way you capture the people are too similar, so then they actually are infringing technically in Japan. I have no idea. Or Nintendo's just throwing the kitchen sink at them, hoping they run out of money, and Nintendo just forces them to settle.
That might be part of it too, and it might be also to make sure that nobody else tries to do this.
It could be, set
to
a
deter
statement like
people.
they do.
Like even if they can't get the game shut down, just try to scare others from attempting to AI steal their stuff.
Yeah, because it's going to set the precedent that, hey, if you do come close to using any of our IP, you will have a long and expensive legal battle. Do you really want to do this?
You want to do it?
Nintendo can drag it out, man. They got the money for it, so they set those examples.
That I don't know that I want Nintendo to win. I kind of just wish this wasn't happening. And this isn't me saying PalWorld's the greatest thing. I think Nintendo isn't fighting it. Like if Nintendo could prove, like if the court case was Nintendo is suing over copyright infringement, and when you dive into the court case, they can prove the AI was using Nintendo's models.
Mm-hmm.
That is something Nintendo should sue over, and I think should win. If they stole Nintendo's assets and used that as the model for their AI to design the creatures, yes, that is copyright infringement. But that's not what Nintendo's suing, because right now they can't prove that happened. So they're suing over something they think they can prove. I think the lawsuit's truly just about the designs. It's about the designs and how there are certain aspects of the creature designs that are very obvious that they are heavily inspired by Nintendo's creations. But we now know, it's been self-admitted, that the designs were mostly done by AI. So Nintendo, without having proper access, probably can't choose. I wonder if this court case isn't because Nintendo thinks they can win. What if they just want to, in discovery, be able to find out if they stole assets?
Mm-hmm.
And this is really about setting up a second lawsuit.
Ooh, that's a good point, Nate.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because it is pulling from all the Pokemon. It's pulling from everything.
They want to force
Digimon.
They want to force them to hand over the asset base that was used for their AI to see if they actually stole Nintendo's assets. Because that's the smoking gun. If they can prove Nintendo assets were stolen for their AI, it's over.
That's the thing with new.
That company won't even exist anymore, because that's literally that's stealing.
Yeah.
Look, Mon, I wish we just lived in a world where we could all be pals.
You know
what I'm saying, Mon?
Yeah.
Finesse.
Chris, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't like it. I did enjoy PalWorld. I played it on my Xbox, and it's on Steam. It's doing pretty nice. I mean, it's like 13K right now, so it's not too shabby. I just don't like what they're doing, but it makes sense that they're setting up for something else. Like if you look at all of the other Pocket Pair games, they're just this other game. Their next game is just what's the name of this thing? The little bug thing. Wait, that's a Metroidvania.
The one that was recently
Hollow
shown
Knight.
at a direct.
Yeah, their next game is just Hollow Knight. It's just Hollow Knight with the girl. So maybe there's this thing in Japan where they don't like Pocket Pair, and Nintendo just decided, okay, this is my chance to bring them down. But yeah, I just don't like the precedent that it says, because
I don't know how they're accepted in Japan. I wonder if Japan likes them. They're accepted outside of Japan. I don't know about inside Japan.
Yeah.
Maybe like, because Japan does believe in a lot of honor stuff, and if they think you're stealing shit to be successfl, that might be like a shameful thing.
Unless you're part of the Yakuza.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that.
Of course. But yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like if the precedent is that it says is about patents. The only thing that's similar between PalWorld and Pokemon, besides the creatures, is capturing them in balls. But that brings a lot of other games into it that I don't like where they could go, like
I agree.
Cassadis,
I mean,
Temtem.
there was a what was the daggone games that came out before Pokemon that it was just like that. I mean, it was the same concept of capturing the monsters, and you had a crap ton of designs. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Hold on.
I recall that though.
Eric,
I do recall this.
Yeah, so this is going to be brought up.
You're
in court.
laughing. He's looking up the
This is
game because he's never played PalWorld.
Dragon Quest Monsters.
Dragon Quest Monsters.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric,
Oh yeah. I reviewed Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince on Switch.
Yeah,
Great
that's
game,
really
by
good.
the way. Yeah,
Really
really good game, right? But yeah, that is where I read it. Actually, I think someone on Reddit actually said that, no pun intended, but that is where I read it. And they were comparing the monsters from Dragon Quest Monsters to Pokemon.
So
like,
close.
and I was like,
Mm.
Like, I
Looks
was
like
like,
they
"Oh."
stole, right? Looks like they stole designs.
I mean, yeah, you could. I think you could make a case for it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have to
it's probably too late.
use much
now,
imagination to
at the
see.
time. Yeah.
But it's going to be brought up. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
to be. They got to have some kind of defense, right? Like, we can't make creatures too. You know, I
Yeah.
think it's an AI thing, but I also think it has something to do with this model of the game, because it says that players want it to go free to play. They don't want that. They said it's too late in the game to do that, but they still want to bring DLC, and they want to be like a real game. They want to actually, be a legitimate game that you just buy. I mean, it feels like, maybe there'll be a PalWorld sequel, and Nintendo doesn't want that. Maybe it'll be a crap ton of.
It means it sounds like they made a lot of money and they just want to make more. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, I mean, they did. It had a great launch, very successful launch. So,
Like, oh man, it's like me being like, hey guys, I have a successful YouTube channel. My next YouTube channel though, I hope it bombs. Hope it just tanks. It doesn't do well.
and then Scarlet and Violet, they didn't do well, so people needed their Pokemon fix. It had some problems.
The time it came out helped a lot too with the
Yeah.
backlash on that. So Eric, what are your thoughts? Mr. Laughing over there. Let's include us in the laughter.
So just because I haven't played it and it's been a while since I've looked at it, I was watching the trailer on Steam, and I think I figured out what patent they're going after. It's the parasailing patent.
Oh,
They have a parasailing thing in PalWorld. So everybody's like, "Oh no, it's the monsters." No. Actually, it's the parasailing part of it that's getting them.
it's a little sailcloth.
Yep.
Jacked it from Breath of the Wild, you fuckers. We're not. But why is the Pokemon Company involved? Because we put it in a Pokemon game too.
Yep.
Oh man.
Well, it's a Nintendo patent, so
Yeah, it is a Nintendo patent. They do have it patented, but there are plenty of games that have a similar, very,
Oh, I
very
know.
similar, if not identical mechanic.
that's why I was just laughing, because I was just like, what patent could they be looking at here? So parasailing. There you go.
All right. Let's get to our Q&A section.